and we're now getting ready for the start of the feature race here in Durban. France versus Great Britain. The battle is rejoined once again. Switzerland will be hoping to get in there as well. The lights go out and France trying to get away, but it's a slow start.
Switzerland, stunning start from Switzerland, splitting Team GBR. GBR getting bogged down, and Ireland comes down on the outside.
Switzerland takes the lead, France in second. Ireland trying to take third, but Robbie Kerr of Great Britain's got it covered. Watch the battle in the middle there, and Verstappen's had an amazing start for the Netherlands. He's already gained some places.
Well, great start from Germany, as well as also Portugal gets past New Zealand, Australia, America, and as you say, Team Netherlands, and disappointment for the Czech Republic left on the grid.
Oh, a stall. We've seen stalled cars on the grid several times this year, and it's happened to one of the most experienced, Thomas Enger.
And they're going to try and get that car pushed to safety at the pit lane exit, but they're going to have to push very quickly because the field is already halfway around this 2.04 mile circuit.
So power boosts and buttons have not been used very much yet. Ireland have used theirs once. Indonesia coming out onto the circuit. Well done to the Indonesian team for getting that car ready, and he's managed to get out before losing a lap. That's absolutely crucial. It's Switzerland that leads, from France, Great Britain, Ireland, Germany, as you say, with a very good run at the start.
And Team GBR right behind Team France. They're going to put pressure once again as we watch the cars come through to turns 11 into 12. This long you pick up speed all the way through the corner. There's into turn 13. Now, if anybody's going to make a pass into there, I think it'll be Team GBR and Robbie Kerr. But if he gets it right, he'll be a hero. If he fails, it will be all over.
Neil Yanni of Switzerland leads. He's won one race so far this year in A1 Grand Prix. He made a great start. Look at the battle behind. Portugal, then New Zealand in the black car, trying to join in. Australia's there too, USA, and then the Netherlands. The Netherlands in 10th position. A great start that from Verstappen.
Well, he's got to find a way to get round to the Team USA, and that's not going to be as easy. Verstappen made up all those positions by just experience going into turn one, but once you get into a line of cars, your momentum is dictated by that of the car ahead of you, and unless there's a situation as we saw at the end of the lap of the first race, well, this will be a tough decision.
No doubt. Alexander Premat doesn't look quite as comfortable with his car running in second place as Yanni in the lead car looks at the moment, but it's early days in this 40-lap encounter, and we've got a pit stop to deal with as well at some stage.
Lock up again, Robbie Kerr, major lock up coming into turn 9. He wasn't attempting an overtaking manoeuvre, he was just braking late, and that's what's dogged this team. Pretty much throughout the series they have this problem of locking the front brakes, and that all will do. You're going to make a entire stop, but nevertheless you don't want to get out of balance wheel. That will make the job of Robbie Kerr very much more difficult. Look, he comes alongside France into the garage, into the pits.
France into the pits, a very early pit stop.
So
Switzerland. Yeah, very early pit stops here for both France and Switzerland. Portugal going for the early stop, so is Canada. This is the earliest opportunity that they're allowed to stop, and Great Britain leads in Durban, with Team Ireland now in second and Germany in third. Let's watch the stops. So Switzerland go to work. They were leading this race, remember, before they decided to make this pit stop. Very interesting strategy here from these top teams who are making the early stop, presumably expecting a safety car period at some point.
France has got a problem. They're not getting the kind of smooth. The right front is not working for France. It is all disappointment to USA and Australia.
USA and Australia have tangled, and this will bring the safety car out by the looks of things. Has France got going?
And has he stalled? No, he hasn't. He had to wait for Malaysia to go down the pit lane before he could get into it himself.
And we are going to see, I think, maybe the safety car coming out. Let's see if they've managed to get those cars out of the way. What a disaster for France. Here we've got those two tangled cars and waved yellow flags.
And the drivers are having to go the long way around. They can't take the natural line round turn 1.
The safety car board is being shown at start-finish line, and that means that...
Well, that was a big punt down the inside. Team USA, Phil Giebler trying to get it done on Will Davison. Davison moves over to the left, gives him room, but of course New Zealand suddenly came into play, and Team USA had to move to the left, and the back end got away, and it was just sort of, well, it was a normal motorway or traffic collision. Yeah,
what a shame for these two guys. But Davison kept out of the way, but then there was no space for him to come through as USA spun. Netherlands did well to slip through on the inside.
And
Great Britain makes a pit stop. So from the lead, Great Britain making the pit stop under safety car. There's a problem on the right front. Problem on the right front wheel. Hasn't got it finished yet. Oh, they desperately need a good stop here. They've been so quick in most of their pit stops this year and through the season. And away he goes, but that wasn't a great stop for Great Britain.
And Switzerland's gone through. So Switzerland technically, when this all shakes itself out, certainly is going to be ahead of Team GBR, and also Germany is now ahead of Team GBR.
Yeah, and where is Canada going to be? Canada rejoining there.
And they couldn't pass, waved yellow flag, so he had to follow.
He's got the line. He's taken out one of the air hoses with him. Great Britain has an air hose, a piece of rubber tubing beneath the car, which must have come from pit lane, and it's trailing underneath the car. That is terrible news.
Now, was that from his team or was that from another team? Now that's going to mean he will have to come back in if it doesn't detach itself somewhere around the track, which it may well do. Nevertheless, whatever it is, and flailing around like a 30-foot snake behind the rear of Team GBR. Now puffs of smoke coming out of the back of Team GBR as well.
This could be the end of an effective result here, and Canada being very sensible here and not getting too close.
He can't wave yellow flags, he's not allowed to overtake. There must be wave yellow flags as we get the safety cars here. Blow up, or something, a major problem, not say a blow up, but there's a lot of blue smoke coming from the rear. Now whether that is a consequence of that lead being attached to the car, I don't know whether that's from Team GBR's garage or somebody else's.
Well, drama indeed for Team Great Britain once again, gets into the lead of the race, and now the pit stop's gone wrong. Now, is it still attached? Yes. Whatever it is causing a bit of smoke at the back of the car as well. Maybe it's getting tangled up in a drive shaft or something, I don't know what, because now there's no smoke. I think he's trying to get rid of it. Look, he's weaving around, but he'll be given a black flag.
That's attached securely to the bottom of the car.
I can see the black, well, from our commentary position, I can see the black flag being gotten ready.
Yes, he's gone in. He's had to go in. He's been on the radio. The team have said, you've got to go in. It's actually, you can see the metal coupling where it would go into the air bottle itself. But where it is attached to the rear of the car is impossible to tell. Now, whether the blue smoke we saw was the consequence of that getting trapped under a wheel and tower, we have to wait and see. But certainly, jacks under the car, front and rear. Can they get it detached?
Well, it must be pretty well jammed in there. I wonder what it's got jammed on, but they've got it out. Was the gun still attached? No,
I don't think so. I think it was just simply that it got attached around maybe a suspension leg and therefore got trapped, and there was nothing that Robbie Kerr could do to detach it while he was driving around the circuit, and it just flailed around, doing no damage, fortunately. But what frustration, having suffered the problem of a poor pit stop because of the right front, compounding it because then the line got detached underneath the car.
So those cars that haven't stopped, New Zealand, Brazil, Pakistan and Lebanon, are now the top four. The first car that has stopped is Switzerland. Switzerland made the most of that first round of pit stops, but Germany is second of the cars to have stopped, currently lying sixth overall. Canada also, of the cars that stopped, is third, and then the Netherlands fourth. So there's been some big changes here. Now, of course, New Zealand and Brazil are running first and second, but they've got a pit stop still to do.
But Ben, looking down, Ireland are 14th, and race winners in the sprint race, France down in 15th. Now, they had a poor pit stop. Ireland, we didn't see their pit stop, but they clearly, when they were second, when they were running behind Team GBR, they then came in the following lap. They must have also had a poor pit stop.
Let's take another look at the start. There was Enger stalled on the grid, but then it was the run down here. Bad start by Pramac, and Yanni took advantage.
Germany also a big gain in that first start of the feature race, gets up to 5th place. Challenged on the outside, but was able to secure it. Portugal and New Zealand putting pressure on Team Germany, but not a problem.
Amazingly, they just about made it through the first corner without contact, and Verstappen was able to find a bit of space as well. This is how it looked as Switzerland went side by side with France into the hairpin. France couldn't do much, but managed to stay in second place. Verstappen cut back in late there to try and take the advantage, and almost wiped himself across the nose of the Canadian car.
I mean, it's just like Jos Verstappen drives the Dodgems in Zandvoort at one of the amusement parks. Just cut all the way through, no problem whatsoever.
Staying out of trouble was South Africa, and they are now shown as 11th, having made their stop. So South Africa could be getting into the points here, but Australia, I'm afraid, are out of this race. Will Davison walks away from his battered car with no front wing on that machine and is out of the event.
Yeah, so 2 cars out already. Will Czech Republic 1 lap down, of course, having that stall on the grid as the flights went out. And now the chain of cars, the majority have made, other than it's Lebanon, Pakistan, Brazil and New Zealand, yet to make that mandatory stop. And I don't know, take their chances. There may well be other safety car interruptions, so they just by staying in the lead, they can stay out until the penultimate lap before they make the decision.
That was the moment the USA tried to go down the inside of Australia and just overcooked it, basically tried to still make the corner and spun right in front of the Australian car. Great disappointment.
You can see the rear wheel was locked, and of course that was inclined to drag the back of the car around. Will Davison went for the gap, but the gap didn't emerge as he had hoped it would do, and there was the contact. Let's look again and see. There's the lock-up. The rear wheel turns in, doesn't turn enough, wasn't maybe aggressive enough and giving himself sufficient room, thinking that maybe Team USA would have rolled back rather than coming to a stop, and maybe even Martin rolling slightly forward.
Yeah, unfortunate for Australia that. He couldn't really have done a great deal more than he did. Gave the guy room, but unfortunately nothing to do on the exit. So Team USA out of luck on this occasion. Up front though, currently leading is Team New Zealand, with Brazil in second place, and we think the safety car may be coming in.
Yes, the lights were out. There you see the lights right on the safety car. So this race will get underway with Team New Zealand leading from Team Brazil and Team Pakistan, which is not actually in the race for real.
Yeah, Team Pakistan, just a guest appearance because they haven't got their regular Pakistan driver in there.
How ironic would it be if Team Pakistan actually went on to take this race with it as a non-competitor, but here just to give support to the Pakistan fans.
Here we go, all set for the restart. New Zealand leading, and it's determined to make the break here. They will be hoping for a later safety car period to have any chance of getting a good result. But look at the Czech car now attacking Lebanon. So Thomas Enger trying to get down the inside on this restart. Can he make it tight enough? Lebanon gives him room, and Enger was just not prepared to take a big gamble there.
He wasn't sure whether he was going to get the corner from Team Lebanon or not. He did the wise thing, he did the prudent thing, just backed off and sort of cruised around the corner. There we see the battle that's going on. As the cars start once again, 34 laps to go, or 1 hour, whichever comes sooner.
Switzerland, remember, is the first car on track that has made his pit stop, currently running in 5th position. He's got Germany right behind him, Canada and the Netherlands, and Netherlands currently running in 8th place overall, but 4th of the cars that have stopped. Remember, he started at the back after that accident in the first race. He's still in the hunt. Well, there's your answer with Ireland, John. They've got yet more problems.
Well, whatever that problem was during the pit stop, it may have been manifest just prior to coming in for it, or just going back out. Certainly they lost ground and now back in the pit, so it looks like it's over for Ireland in the future race.
Matt Halliday is leaping away out in front in the Black Beauty in the New Zealand car. He is absolutely committed. He knows his only chance of getting a good result here is to open up a good enough advantage and hope really that there's no safety car for a while so that he can build up a lead.
Basil Japan, Team Lebanon, still under pressure from Thomas Enger, the Czech Republic. Enger may not be so generous about making an overtaking manoeuvre. Basil Japan pulls over to the left, but he can't get it done again. Shaban for Lebanon late on the brakes, overshoots the corner, and that now he comes back, but at least gives room for the Czech Republic to get through cleanly.
Well, now Switzerland's got the problem of trying to get past Lebanon as well, and remember that Germany right behind Switzerland there is a battle for what could become the lead of the race once others have made their pit stop.
We've got 6 cars, essentially the top 6 cars running behind place 4, which is Lebanon, who have yet to make a pit stop. So how they're going to find a way through is going to take a little bit of patience, because if you try to force the situation, you'll end up in the barrier. On board with Canada here, Sean McIntosh, also in an ideal position, running a third of those cars that has made a stop, and here comes Switzerland as Neil Yarni jostles for position, looks for a way past the Lebanon car. But Lebanon stays in the middle of the road. It's entitled to do that. It's a large away command move, a blocking move, but it can't do more. No way down the inside into turn 10. In fact, it may hurt Switzerland to take that option, because that part of the track, like others that is not in regular use, gets dirty. Right behind Switzerland, it's Germany, and Germany could take advantage here because Switzerland struggling to get away past Lebanon, and if something goes wrong, Germany will be right there to nip through. Portugal ahead of the Netherlands. There's been a change there. Portugal, Netherlands have got back. Yeah, Netherlands had problems on that last lap and has lost a place to Portugal. So down the inside, Switzerland this time manages to get past Lebanon. Also Germany, contact is there, well, maybe not. And Portugal's past Canada. Portugal managed to nip down the inside. Bodywork come off. I think that might be Canada's front wing. Bodywork now lying in the track. There you see it. That's, I think, the nose of Canada. If there was contact, that's the consequence. Oh dear, well, it was all happening down there. New Zealand still lead, Brazil in second, yet to make their stops. Then Pakistan
chased by the Czech Republic, which is a lap down. Then the real battle in a way is Switzerland.
And it is gone back in charge. Canada, they've lost the nose, that contact in the overtaking manoeuvre on the edge of the turn one, and he'll be in the pits.
Oh, what a shame for Canada. It's not going according to plan for them here today. Indonesia coming through. Take another look at this.
Well, this is the move. Switzerland passing Lebanon. Comes down. Germany, the ones to try and take advantage.
Yeah, Portugal also going through there. Another view of that as Canada really cut back on Portugal. That really, John, surely was Sean's mistake a little bit.
In a sense, yes, you have to say that he's trying to get back. He probably had the barrier on the left-hand side looking him in the face. He had to cut back, but he just cut it too fine, and the nose damaged, the wing off, and he'll be in the pits.
Yeah, here he comes into... No, he doesn't.
So he's staying out. I wonder whether he feels, well, I can still continue in this race. I'm not going to be as competitive, but if I keep running, I still may pick up points.
Yeah, well, of course, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to overtake him, but here's the man who'll try. It's the Netherlands, Jos Verstappen, trying to get down the inside, and he makes the move stick. So that brings the Netherlands car back a place. He lost one to Portugal. Oh, dear.
Well, I don't know why he went over his front wing. All he has done now is scatter that wing carbon fibre, the shards of carbon fibre all over the racetrack, and I wonder whether that will be in itself a reason to put the safety car out, because I think that will now need to be cleared up. Thomas Enger, Czech Republic, retired.
Race over. Oh, that's a shame. He was trying to gain his lap back, wasn't he? He was attacking up front, but his race really went wrong from the start when he stalled at the start of the race. New Zealand still pulling away, 1 minute 20.1, and what's happened to Great Britain now?
Being pulled back as well. That's down at turn one. Robbie Kerr and Team GBR pulled back from the racetrack. We didn't see that. We hopefully will see, but they maybe just made it. We don't know whether there's an error. He wants some action. He wants to be either pulled away or bump started. I think the marshals are duty bound to pull him away to safety.
So it looks as though it's all over for Great Britain, and what looked as though it could have been a tremendous day has all fallen to pieces. And of course Brazil, we talked about the battle for third place in the series between Brazil and Great Britain. Currently Brazil's running second, but they still have to make their pit stop.
Well, New Zealand's got a 1.9 second advantage over Brazil, so Matt Halliday hasn't got a lot to play with. You remember, he's still got to make that mandatory pit stop. Look at the field as they fan out behind Basil Shaban and the Lebanon, with Mexico now directly behind the Lebanese car.
South Africa in there as well, getting a big cheer for Stephen Simpson. He's now up into 10th position. He has made a pit stop. Into the pits has come Sean McIntosh of Canada. He couldn't continue with that damaged front wing.
He also had to wait until the team got a nose out and were able to, there's no point coming in sitting there if the team haven't got a nose prepared. They didn't expect damage to the nose, so they had to go and get the nose out and then prepare for the refitting.
So New Zealand leads, Brazil second, Pakistan third, but those three cars have yet to stop. Then it's Switzerland, Germany, and then followed by Portugal, the Netherlands, and Lebanon. Lebanon also is yet to make their pit stop. They're followed by Mexico, South Africa, Malaysia, France. The series leaders, France, still down in 12th place.
Lock up from Neil Yarney, that's into turn 6. And India.
Spin. Yeah, for India. Arman Ibrahim has had a spin, and that's dropped him down. He was running in 14th position, and unfortunately, I wonder if he stalled the engine here. The marshal's very quick again.
It looks to me as if he has done. So once again, as they come round the back of the circuit, there's a move. No, it's not. Oh. What is going on? Ananda Mikkola and India get together in turn 9.
Well, we gather there's going to be a drive-through penalty for Team France. Now, what's happened to Indonesia?
He's got a puncture left rear. Yeah. So that car also out of the race. Look at the look of consternation. Jean-Paul Drio, he doesn't understand. What have we done? Why are we getting black flag?
Yeah, I don't know what the reason is, but they're being black flagged. Team France, for whatever reason, they are being brought back into the pits. And, well, they can't quite believe that. And suddenly, their domination of the series is looking a little shaky. Now, what's happening here? Lebanon still trying to protect its position from Mexico, South Africa, Malaysia. There is France, who, as we know, has got to come into the pits. But the safety car is on standby at the moment.
France in 12th place, but the key to this race is the position of Switzerland in relation to New Zealand, who are leading. It's only 6.7 seconds gap between 1st and 4th place. And for New Zealand, Brazil, forget Pakistan, they're not competing, they're just giving a demonstration. There's Mikkola's car once again. That means that Brazil and New Zealand, if they don't pit stop, well, they're going to lose out completely.
Now, I think New Zealand has come into the pits. That's interesting. So they've picked up the next car, which is Brazil. So New Zealand making the choice to come in now. It hasn't really worked because the safety cars come out earlier than they would have liked.
So this will put them all the way back down the field, well, possibly as far down as somewhere in the low teens.
Not too bad.
New Zealand is coming out behind Malaysia. Malaysia currently in 9th, so maybe it's 10th. Australia have gone past, it's 13th.
Yeah, that looks like he's coming out in 13th place.
Behind China, that ought not to be a problem for Matt Halliday, but then Italy will be. Italy is behind Austria, and I think Italy and Austria might be able to swap positions fairly easily. France
has made its drive-through penalty, so they're back out on track once again. Alexander Premat will have to try and make up as many places as possible.
Well, we wonder what the cause of that was. What was exceeding the speed limit in the pit lane? That might be one of the more obvious causes for a driver to have to do a drive-through penalty. Because he had a poor pit stop, that may have been just an error or frustration. 12 laps have been completed, and there are 28 laps remaining in the feature race here in Durban. The car behind the safety car now is Brazil, leads the race. Ireland is back out. So Indonesia and India square up as to whose fault this particular one was. We saw Anand Ibrahim getting involved in an issue with Ralph Fairman in qualifying, which Fairman was very scathing in his criticism of. That one was a racing incident, racing for position, and that's just down to the two drivers on that part of tarmac at that particular moment.
So Brazil has decided not to come in yet on this safety car period. They're the only one of the front runners, apart from Lebanon, which is still up there in 6th place, who's not yet made their pit stop, because we've seen New Zealand make the stop. There's the debris being collected. That was the front wing from Sean McIntosh's Canadian entry.
I think what we need is to see somebody out with a few brushes just to brush the debris, the remains of it, because the bits that you can see, the white bits, that's the polystyrene foam that is actually the wing carbon fibre is wrapped around. But there's the incident once again. Just waiting to see coming down. This is a... No, it's not. There we are now. Mikola goes to the outside, but India going across. I'm sure Ibrahim didn't even know that Mikola and Team Indonesia were either in that position or even thinking about overtaking.
No, great shame for both drivers out of this race. End of the day, and of course a lot of support for the Indian entry here in South Africa, here in Durban, but unfortunately they won't be able to cheer him on anymore. Now Brazil still the race leader, but right behind is Switzerland, who's in the favoured position. They've made their pit stop, they've got Germany behind. Germany could be off their best result, but Ireland's back in again.
Back in again, but I wonder, is this well, they're pushing something into the car. I don't know what they were doing in the cockpit, attaching, whether it's the, well, it's just a battery. That's where the jump battery attaches to the ignition system on the car. Well, dissatisfaction looking on the face of Ireland. Very disappointed. They knew that they had a car that was a podium finishing car, whether it was first, second or third, and yet again the frustration that they're having to contend with.
On board the Netherlands car here now, Verstappen's up in 5th place after all this. He is ahead of the Lebanon car now, with Mexico just in behind. So Germany looking very, very strong. Timo Scheider running second effectively at the moment. It all depends though on Brazil, and whether Brazil can try and make a break in this next sector of the race, how long they decide to go before they make their pit stop, whether they can play strategy at all that will help them. It seems unlikely at the moment, because they've got to pull away at quite a rapid rate. So we'll wait to see if that happens. We're waiting. The lights are out, I think, on the safety car. We'll have to see in turn number 9. They've still got that car of the Indonesian team, so maybe it won't be in on this lap. We'll check to see. But while they come around the latter part of the lap, I think we'll see, yes, the safety car. Yeah. No, next lap round, I'm hearing, John, next lap round. So they've just flicked the lights back on. I think they were thinking of coming in that lap. They decided to do one more lap and then restart this race.
Yes, there's still a little bit of bodywork on the exit of turn 1. I'd like to see that being removed, with the cars running round, you know, at a very relatively low speed, to get that cleared away, to give everybody an opportunity that if they did run over shards of carbon fibre, well, there shouldn't be any there on the track.
Just to confirm that New Zealand are in 13th place, as we thought, once they'd rejoined after their pit stop. They're running 13th now, behind China and Italy. Last point scoring position held by Austria currently. They're in 10th place. And we've got 36 minutes still to go in this race, 26 laps to go. depends on which we get to first, time or number of laps. Another look at that incident.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost as if Ananda Mikkola had to take avoiding action, because probably Ibrahim was slowing down quicker than Mikkola was, and he had little choice. He swung out to the left, caught the barrier, which in turn then caused the incident, and there we see the two people involved, and I think it's a question of, what were you doing, mate? I didn't even know you were there. And he's saying, well, you know, use your mirrors. What are you braking so early for? Two drivers will always have two entirely different versions of an event. There will be one true one, and it's only when you bring him in and set him down and say, what were you doing, Sunshine, and what were you doing?
Well, another one walking home, and that's Phil Giebler of the USA. It's not been a particularly good day for him either. Went out in that incident with Australia earlier on, and so he's now making his way back to the pits to explain what happened. Now, Brazil will, of course, lead them away. We're just looking to see whether the lights go out. I think, yes, lights go out on the safety car. We will get the restart this time around.
So for the first time, Nelson Piquet Jr. is seeing clear air ahead of himself, and it's been a tough weekend for Team Brazil. But the strategy that they're playing, this really is a gamble. I don't know how. I can't conceive how it's going to work for them, but by running at the front of the field, well, maybe there are compensations that they think are valuable to Team Brazil.
Well, they've got to try and make a break. There's no doubt about it. They've got to try and open up as much of an advantage. But when you've got Neil Yarni behind you, it's not going to be easy, because Switzerland has been well on the pace all weekend. Let's take a look here as we get ready for the restart. And Brazil presumably going to use their power boost, are they? They've still got 8 to use. It's not on the button. Away they go. The green flag flies. Germany and Portugal both on the power boost button. And they get an extra 30 brake horsepower thanks to that. Down towards turn 1, and Portugal under attack there from the Netherlands, and also South Africa trying to get down the inside of Mexico.
Yes, contact just right rear, left front between Mexico and South Africa.
But they got away with it, and now Malaysia's down the inside of South Africa. Alex Young taking advantage there.
Well, a great overtake by Malaysia, because no one has overtaken there any point of the weekend. So Alex Young took his heart in his mouth and took a punt down the inside and caught Stephen Simpson of South Africa unawares.
Simpson, perhaps his rhythm disturbed by that little bit of contact at the previous corner, was probably being a bit careful, and he's lost a place as a result of it. But he's still out there. He's still in one piece, and that's probably the most important thing from his point of view.
But watch in the background the black car, Team New Zealand, right under the rear wing of Team Italy. There's going to be a move attempted, whether it will come off as they come down into turn 9.
That means New Zealand's already passed China, has it? Yes, I think it has. They're trying to attack Italy here. Now Halliday's going to cut back. No, he can't quite do it. China's losing more ground in the background.
Yes, but that was all because Austria was ahead of Italy and New Zealand, so that compromised New Zealand's opportunity as Italy was trying to find a way to Austria.
And look, Pakistan in there with Tocacello driving the Pakistan entry. He's not far behind as well.
Tocacello can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Pakistan car is battling a favorable position, but under strict instructions to behave. New Zealand is the one to watch here. It's, on the power boost. New Zealand on the power boost, trying to get past Italy, and Busnelli moves to the inside.
The trouble is they've got Austria on the outside as well, so it's just locking out New Zealand. Busnelli did the right thing. He stayed to the right. He didn't get compromised by Austria. And once again, what's going on? Traffic. Basil's Japan once again getting involved in action in turn 2.
And did New Zealand get through? He went for the move. I'm not sure. He might have managed to get past there. We'll try and check it.
France is dragging smoke, either a break or some blue smoke coming from the rear of Team France.
Yeah, New Zealand got past Italy. I thought he went for the same move that Alex Young made at that previous corner, turn number 2, just as we were watching Lebanon trying to recover from a slide.
Well, that was well spotted. There was a brave opportunity to get alongside. Opportunistic from Matt Halliday, Team New Zealand, and that's what it takes on a road track. Turn 2 now, for the first time offering up opportunities to overtake Austria. What is going on down into turn 9?
3 abreast, and Austria loses out in the middle. How did they get round there? I'm not too sure. And now everybody ganging up on Matthias Lauda.
I think he didn't know whether it was Arthur or Martha in that particular situation. Was there contact with the wall from Team New Zealand on the exit of turn 10?
Could have been. It did look a bit like it, didn't it? Well, behind them we've got France in that next group as well, trying to battle their way up. France are currently down in 15th place, and Alexander Premat really might as well just throw everything at this, because he's out of the points. He's just got to go for it as hard as possible. Here we are on board New Zealand.
New Zealand looking to pine. He comes down again, gets along. Can he get alongside down the inside? Or is he too fast? He overruns the corner, and of course it's only, well, I shouldn't say only, it is Lebanon. Basil Japan has been very tough to pass into turn 1. He breaks late, if not later than most out there.
Brave on the brakes is New Zealand too into turn number 2, and he pulls away a little bit. New Zealand is in the points again, back up to 9th position now. What a drive this is from Matt Halliday.
And now it's Italy who are trying to find a way past Lebanon, and there's no chance coming through 5 up into 6. You've got to be very careful. Oh, a back end of Lebanon gets away. Opportunity for Italy, but not into turn 8. He has to get it done on the exit of 8, all the way down the hill, down into turn 9. He'll pick up the slipstream. He ought to have the momentum. Is he using his power boost? Yes, but so's Lebanon.
Both on the power boost button. Lebanon making mistakes. Italy trying to go for it here. Will he be able to squeeze past? Moves to the outside. Lebanon takes the corner, and they stay as they were, with Pakistan joining in.
Well, I'll tell you what, Basil Shaban has been to the University of Motor Racing here this afternoon, and he's learning quickly. He
is indeed. We're on board Max Busnelli of Italy once again, and behind them Pakistan and Canada. Sean McIntosh trying to gain ground. He's running 13. He's ahead of the French car, despite having had that nose cone changed earlier on, because the French car, of course, had a drive-through penalty to deal with.
So
power boost being used again by Italy. Italy trying to get past Lebanon, but bit of a mistake from Shaban, and Canada almost slid into the back of Pakistan.
But Shaban is so good on the brakes into these high-speed entries into the corner that he doesn't offer up anybody an opportunity. He had made mistakes around the lap through 6 and particularly on 7, but he didn't manage to give enough opportunity for Italy to get alongside. He just plonks himself in the middle of the racetrack and says, if you want to go around the long way, that's up to you. You want to be brave and go down the inside, equally that's up to you.
Oh, it's all happening midfield and up front. Still riding with Team Italy here. They're in 11th place, trying to get past Lebanon. The race being led by Brazil, who's only got a 1.5 second gap over Switzerland, Germany and the Netherlands.
Again, locks up. This time it's Italy locks up. France slides down the inside of Canada, and alongside this time Shaban has been wrong-footed going into turn 10, tries to turn in, but Italy's got the corner. He must get the speed off. He's done it successfully. It's taken a long time to get past Basil Shaban. Now you've got Pakistan, who are not really in the race, they're just out running, and that's going to hold up France, who are running behind Pakistan.
Remember that Shaban is still going to make a pit stop. We're riding on board with Alexander Premats in the French car here, and Premat now tucked in behind the Pakistan entry. Brazil still leads this race, and Brazil's just set the fastest lap. Nelson Piquet's just gone quickest in this race.
And that's faster even than in the sprint race.
Pakistan and France both getting past the Lebanon.
And a mistake for Sean McIntosh again. He gets trapped now, whether he's got a mechanical problem and he's pulling off now. I think he might have stalled the engine. He had to use the momentum to get it to fire up again, and China's gone past.
So China gain a place, and I think that's put them up into 15th position now, just outside the point, still down to 10th place, of course. It's Brazil that leads, Switzerland in 2nd place, Germany 3rd, Netherlands 4th, Portugal 5th, Mexico in 5th, a 6th, then Malaysia 7th, South Africa 8th, New Zealand 9th, and Italy 10th.
It's a 6.5 second deficit between New Zealand and South Africa, so it's a lot of work, but Nelson Piquet Jr. trying to gain the gap between him and Switzerland. 2 seconds with Germany, a further 0.8 of a second behind Switzerland. There you see, first 3 cars, but number 1, Brazil, has not yet made its mandatory pit stop.
But I tell you what, Germany's staying on the pace here. That's one of the best runs we've seen from Germany in A1 Grand Prix. Very much on the pace with both Brazil and Switzerland. Netherlands running behind them. They're in 4th. Portugal, who's been quick, 5th. Remember, but Netherlands has got back past Portugal at some point. South Africa coming under attack from New Zealand. New Zealand down the inside. They've taken that place. New Zealand has managed to squeeze past South Africa.
Now it'll be an attack on Malaysia, and Alex Chung is no walk in the park when it comes to giving up ground. He is going to defend. Malaysia running in 7th. New Zealand up here. We watch again. This is a replay of what occurred a little bit earlier when Pakistan made it past Team Lebanon, and it also allowed France to slide through. There was the slide that caused Sean McIntosh and Canada to lose, but he lost the engine. I think he locked it up under brakes. The rear was locked up and the engine stalled.
Germany still running in 3rd place at the moment with Timo Scheider at the wheel. Behind, there's a bit of a gap to the Dutch car, the Netherlands of Jos Verstappen. Portugal then in 5th, Mexico in 6th, Malaysia well inside the points in 7th place, but we know that Matt Halliday of New Zealand has gained a position. He's now up to 8th. He's overtaken more than anybody else, I think.
And we are exactly at half distance. Fastest lap, we're saying Brazil 1 minute 19.423, and Ireland in the sprint race 1:19.614. I mean, amazing in those races. The cars are carrying a lot more fuel. PK is still on the original set of tyres. He started this 40-lap sprint race, and Pakistan have pulled off down at the hairpin.
Yeah, that won't cause a problem in terms of bringing a safety car out. He's well out of the way. and Pakistan, being driven by Enrico Tocacello in this race, gone down the escape road. Now look how close New Zealand is to the back of the Malaysian entry.
And the pace that we've seen from New Zealand is going to be, let's say, halted. And it may not just be momentarily, it may be for the duration. 19 laps on this race, 25 minutes remaining in terms of time out of the 1 hour maximum time you're allowed to run.
Pakistan back on track by the looks of things, and as they head around, they got France just tucked in behind them, and France still running way down the order, of course, courtesy of that extra pit stop earlier, but they might still get into the points here this afternoon in the feature race. They won the sprint race, remember, but things have not gone to plan in the feature race. And
for one of the very rare occasions is because they had a poor pit stop. Normally France have been absolutely perfect in every pit stop we've seen, with the exception of the first round at Brands Hatch, and here it went all wrong in the pit lane. That one wheel just would not get locked up. They couldn't lock it back up.
I noticed that Ireland's back on track. It might actually have been Ireland we saw earlier on. They're going to try and get that fastest lap, so they've stayed out there. They did have fastest lap at one point, but I think they've just been have they still got it? No, I don't think so.
1 minute 19.432 is the fastest lap for Ireland. 1:19.423, so it's within hundredths of a second. So Ireland doing what they did back in Dubai. They're going back out. They're looking for a clear track to ensure that they can get the fastest lap and therefore the single point that goes with it.
Yeah, so they're running in 17th place, some 7 laps down, but they might as well stay out there and try and get a point. On board with Alexander Premat. He's behind Enrico Tocacello, who's driving, guesting for Pakistan, although he won't score any points in this race, but he's still in front of the French car at the moment.
In fairness, because of the circumstance around Pakistan's entry, it would be fair that he would let France go through, because this is denying France the opportunity of that one final point which they would love to take in this feature race this afternoon.
Now, what's been going on again here between Lebanon, Canada on the inside, Austria on the outside? Did they contact each other?
Yes, right rear, left rear, Canada and Austria. So Matthias Lauda having an afternoon where really sometimes he feels he's being swamped by competition.
Now here we go, Pakistan getting out of the way, and actually I think probably backing off a bit there to allow France through cleanly. Maybe he's been given a word by the team and he's moved out of the way.
Well, of course, the teams all monitor the commentary. They picked up that observation from us in the commentary booth, and they would have passed that on to Pakistan.
Brazil leads, but they haven't made a pit stop. Switzerland, Germany, the Netherlands and Portugal all have. Only 2 cars haven't stopped in this race. That's the leader, Brazil, and Lebanon currently running in 13th place. Everyone else has made their obligatory pit stop, so they're really racing for position. Malaysia, they're 7th, with New Zealand bearing down on them.
And this is what I anticipated would be the case. Alex Young and Team Malaysia is a very clever race driver. He knows how to use the racetrack. He has stymied the pace of New Zealand. He's forced New Zealand to slow down to the pace of Malaysia. And once you can do that with a competitor, then you have got control over that position. So Malaysia in 7th and New Zealand in 8th.
Yeah, with right behind them the home favourite, Stephen Simpson, driving for Team South Africa. He's in the points. He's in 9th place at the moment. Behind him is Italy. He's got a useful little advantage over the Italian car.
Ireland, what are they doing? Ralph Fairman trying. Look, he's got that left front wheel locked up. Can he avoid contact? He's out there simply to try and get the fastest lap of this event. And he's out of the car now. That's it, the lock up on the left front. Whether he hit contact, we couldn't really tell, but whatever it was, sufficiently serious, his day is now over, and he has not achieved that desirable fastest lap.
No, 4th place in the sprint race, but nothing from the feature. A bit like Great Britain, who had a good sprint race, but it's all gone wrong for them in this one. Great Britain out of this race. So Portugal there, still pretty close to the back of the Netherlands car. Then Mexico on their own. Here we go with the Malaysia, New Zealand and South Africa trio heading down to turn number 1.
The top 5 cars are covered by 7.5 seconds, and PK, Team Brazil, who's leading, has yet to make a pit stop, so you can forget about them for being a podium contender this afternoon.
Yeah, Brazil are going to drop way down when they do make their stop. Look, I think Canada made a mistake a moment ago, went over the curbs, and this time he gets away with it. That's where they've modified the curb.
Yes, you can see there the little bit of curbing that's been removed to enable a driver who does make an error. He will not be penalised for that. That was just simply a driving error. He didn't seek or gain any advantage, and here he is running car in one piece, and a good decision on the part of the race director and those that are involved in the running and the security of this race.
John Village, who looks after the engineering side for that car, but not looking terribly happy at the moment. They're not in the points.
Full sparks from the bottom of PK's car as he came around the corner. The car bottom. Now we've not seen any car at any part of the track bottom before, but clearly the car hit a bump there and there's a substantial amount of sparks from underneath Piquet's car.
So watch out for that, but Brazil still leading, but not by the amount that they need to lead to take in a pit stop and still get any chance of a decent result here. So this would elevate all those following. It would mean that Switzerland would take over the lead. There's still 15 laps to go here, some 20 minutes, plenty of time available, but for Brazil it's not coming together. Switzerland in great shape, so is Germany and the Netherlands, and perhaps Jos Verstappen is still going to get his first podium. Now, look at New Zealand getting a little closer to the back of the Malaysian car, and Alex Young in the yellow and white car is really coming under pressure now from Matt Halliday.
Well, Matt Halliday can do very little with a driver who's got the brains of Alex Young, because Young will use his car. It may not be as quick as Team New Zealand's car is on the day, but there you see the back of the car sliding, but he uses the performance he's got to his advantage at the part of racetrack where it helps him. Where he's not competitive, then he slows the pace down, which in turn slows down Matt Halliday and Stephen Simpson running third of these three cars.
This is a stage in the race where maintaining that concentration is crucial. Malaysia on the power boost, but New Zealand's got nothing to offer because Matt Halliday's used all his available...
Oh, goes round, he spun it.
Right in front of New Zealand, Malaysia spins. Alex Young has made a fundamental mistake there.
And I think he might have also stalled it in the process.
And that's allowed South Africa up one as well. So now New Zealand 7th, South Africa 8th. And has he got the engine going? No. And it looks as though it could be all over for Alex Young.
And that was a very sudden and really very unexpected. It may again been the result of locking a brake and letting it drag into the corner, which would cause the tail to swing round. If he wasn't able to get in the clutch quickly enough, that would be a stall for sure. But remember, we have got Brazil. They are leading the race on the road, but they have yet, and they will be forced to make that mandatory pit stop, which they will do. 14 laps to go, and we've got 19 minutes remaining.
Safety car is on standby.
Let's look again. Watch what happens. We lose him as he comes into picture. There's the blue smoke. That was a lock-up from a rear wheel, and there suddenly we see the car pivoting round. Now he's also dropped the gears and just floored the throttle, but of course he manages now, having done that, as we saw from Verstappen in the sprint race, to stall the engine. It's
going to be a safety car period. It's going to bunch them all up together. I wonder if Brazil will take this chance to come in. It's not really going to help them very much because they don't have enough of a lead to come back out again. They're the only team in the top 10 not to have made a pit stop.
Well, I suspect that Brazil will stay out because there's nothing, as you mentioned, to gain by coming in. Not to say that they won't do it, but to stay in the lead and only on the penultimate or the last lap when you make your mandatory pit stop. Who knows what may occur between now and the end of this race? Anything could happen. So stay out until the last opportunity, and then you've lost or you win.
Alex Young, who's a pretty straightforward, honest driver who admitted to a mistake earlier on this weekend, will be just fuming with himself because he had a great chance to score useful points there for Malaysia. They've got their new sponsor on board this weekend in Proton, and he would have loved to have scored some points, but it's so easy to get caught out, and I think we'll see a few more mistakes before the end of this race.
13 laps to go, 17 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. There it is. He dragged that rear brake. He was actually on the dirtier line. He got off the racing line, and that's what encouraged the back of the car to drift around. Here's the view looking forward from that. You can see how far he was too late in the brakes. He locked it. He missed the apex substantially. That was, I'm surprised, because Alex Young has got one of the coolest heads of any driver in A1GP, and he was under pressure, and he made the mistake as a consequence of the pressure from Team New Zealand and Matt Halliday.
And the Malaysian team can't quite believe it. What a disappointment for them. In the pits for his pit stop at last. Here is Lebanon, and it's Basil Shaban. It's not looking good.
No, right rear once again being problematic, and the team looking at the watch as well. The reality is it's not going to have a huge effect, but of course it's one of the things teams, if they can't get these tires released, you might as well take a shipyard screwdriver, in common parlance a hammer to it, and bang the thing off.
Of course, this is the danger of leaving a pit stop till late in the race because it gives a lot more time for the heat build-up to make a difference.
And also, the man who's designated to the right rear is the only person who is permitted to work on the right rear. If any of the other corner workers decide to get in and give him a hand, then the car will be eliminated from the race. So look at the frustration. He's got it off, but the poor man, he will be sweating like a racehorse after running the Grand National, I think, in this one.
Oh, and he knows that everybody's watching him, waiting to get that car ready to come back out again. It's a long... Now he can't get the wheel nut on, can he? No, it won't engage properly. That rear half may have...
All he has to do is just take it easy. It makes no difference whatsoever. It's a question of just more haste, less speed. And for Basil Shaban, who's really driven very, very well indeed and defended staunchly, throughout the race. He's getting a quiet rest. He might have a quick drink, maybe read the newspapers, and when the thing's all complete, go back out on the racetrack. He could still conceivably finish in the top 10. You never know. With 12 laps to go, anything is liable to happen.
I think the problem is he's lost an entire lap, which is a great shame, of course, because he won't now be on the same lap as the other front runners. But as you say, he would have dropped to the back anyway.
Well, Ben, we're just getting a signal from one of the other engineers who was not actually physically helping but was giving moral support, and he gave the signal to the team that no way, we can't continue, we've got a problem on the right rear, it's over sadly for Lebanon today.
"12 laps remain in the feature race here in Durban. Currently the race is being led behind the safety car by Brazil. Alex Young was the cause of the most recent safety car. He walks away from his car. But remember, Brazil has not made the pit stop yet that everybody else has. Effectively, Brazil will drop way down the order when they make their stop. They're going to leave it to the last minute and just hope that effectively they can gain some advantage, but it's going to be a tough call.
Looking down the list of runners and riders, China is the last running car effectively on the lead lap, and that's only 13 seconds behind Team Brazil. Well, they're trying to get Lebanon back out again. I'm not entirely confident that they are sure that that right rear is secure. So China currently the last of the runners in 14th place, and that's where I believe Team Brazil most likely will finish once they've made their pit stop. And you take a gamble, but we don't know. Anything can happen between now and the conclusion of this 40-lap feature race with 14 minutes remaining. So it's going to be a very close call as to whether we call a time on the 60-minute rule or whether we get through the 12 remaining laps.
Lebanon pushing their car away now. The safety car coming in though, as you can see, the lights are out. It's heading into the pit lane, and we're going to get the race restarted once again. Brazil leads, but effectively it's Switzerland in command of this race, followed by Germany, the Netherlands, Portugal, Mexico and New Zealand.
Watch for Jos Verstappen and the Netherlands.
And it's also helped New Zealand hugely, because New Zealand was 5 seconds behind Mexico after they got past Malaysia, and now it's all concertina together again.
Yes, that's why I say wait until it's over, because it's not over until the flag comes out. So Jos Verstappen on board as he comes down into turn 2, running behind Mexico. He'll want to get a move as quickly as possible on Alvaro Paredes in the Team Portugal entry.
Switzerland, Germany following through, then Portugal looking for a good result here. South Africa running in 8th place at the moment. A few more places and this place will go pretty wild with excitement, I would think.
On board with France.
So race leader Brazil under green flag conditions once again, but they've got a stop to make. Interestingly, France are now up into 10th position.
Well, France have just got to keep going. They will pick up points. They are a top team. They are the top team. But they've had problems today. But Alexander Payne, he is a racing driver. He's not just somebody who gets in and does what he's required to do, which is win. He actually likes to race, and that's a great aspect to me of what these guys are doing. So
through the tricky, a little bit of a slide there from Mexico. Did you see the red car there, just bouncing over the curb? He's got to watch out, because Matt Halliday's overtaken more cars than anyone else, and he's the one in his mirrors.
Again, watch as they come through turn 13. Halliday into the corner. He's right on the gearbox now of Team Mexico as we watch now Tanguy Zhang, the last of the runners on the lead lap.
So everything hotting up nicely now with 10 laps to go. New Zealand attacked but couldn't quite do it. France is there too. France desperately trying to gain a few more points.
And we're now seeing a lot more defence coming from drivers, particularly into turn 1, to a lesser extent into turn 9. Those are the two major overtaking areas on this circuit.
Here we go.
Outside, he gets down the inside into turn 2. No, sorry, turn 4, I beg your pardon.
Turn 3 and 4, yeah, and that's the first time we've seen anyone overtake there. Matt Halliday for New Zealand has done it. Oh, Mexico's in trouble, that's why. Mexico going very slowly, and David Martinez's race could be over. Well, Halliday, everything's coming to Halliday here at the moment for New Zealand.
And for South Africa, because South Africa's also benefited. They're up now to 7th place.
So New Zealand up into 6th, as you say. South Africa up to 7th position. And I wonder how much further New Zealand can climb. They led earlier on. Look at the slow progress there of Team Mexico. And he's surely going to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. That will promote some others. Italy will gain one. They'll be up to 8th. France will come up to 9th now.
Let's look again and see. This is the overtaking manoeuvre. Now, something obviously went wrong for Portugal as Halliday, Team New Zealand, slides down the inside of an area of racetrack that we never expected to see any overtaking, but it was assisted by a mechanical problem.
Yeah, Mexico in trouble there. And that's a shame, because they look to be getting some good points once more. but it's still Brazil who lead, and still, it looks like an electronic problem.
Yes, they're just going to change the steering wheel, so as soon as they can get back in, whether it was electronics per se, or a problem with the gear change on the steering wheel, that whatever it is, they need to change the steering wheel, they need to get back out, but unfortunately he'll be back in last place.
Now then, South Africa better be careful here, because Italy has closed up as well. Italy in the blue car there, that's the new driver, Max Busnelli, and Stephen Simpson's being urged on to defend his position.
But Busnelli has been very assertive since he came here. We never saw this Italian until he turned up here in Durban, and very, very impressive. First time in the car for Team Italy. We go back and see what's going on in Mexico. They've got a problem looking around the rear of the car, but this is the battle that they have to face. France running behind Italy, behind South Africa.
Oh, France going down the escape road there virtually, and that was a mistake from Alexander Premat. He could come under attack here.
Now that could just be simply a driver error, or maybe he's beginning to experience some braking problems, you know, depending, and he's going, is that a puncture, or is it just the way he came out of turn 10?
Seems to be up to speed again, doesn't he, with Canada right behind him, and well, that was a scare indeed for Alexander Premat. Where is the Pakistan car? Looking for that. I think he had a problem, didn't he? I think Pakistan got into trouble, so that's changed things around again. Italy now 8th, France 9th, Canada 10th.
Just keep an eye on Team France. It comes down into turn 1. I'm not convinced that that left rear may not be looking a little bit softer. It was the way he came through turn 10 at the end of the last lap. The car did not look stable. So once again, have a look and see. This is going in.
Oh, that's what happened to
the
Pakistan.
contact, yes.
Got hit by Lebanon there. Yeah, we did see that he had spun down there. So Pakistan in trouble, and Lebanon rejoined by the look of it.
And Basil Shaban, the Lebanese driver, once again in trouble. But here we are, Mexico. They have retired. David Martinez has pulled off, and that's the end of Mexico's day. So they'll drop out of the order. They were classified as they came across as in 14th place, but well, we don't know what's going to happen. All we can say is the man leading this race, Nelson Piquet Jr. for Team Brazil, has yet to make the mandatory pit stop. So while he is leading on the road, both on merit and in any other respect, when he has the decision to come into the pits, he will go from being a race leader to possibly, at best, finishing in 14th place.
Oh, what a disappointment.
13th.
Yeah, what a disappointment that would be for him. Meanwhile, behind, you've got Portugal there, and then New Zealand now. Can Matt Halliday close up that gap anymore? They're lapping at a fairly similar pace, I think, certainly last time around. This time around, yeah, a 10th quicker by New Zealand than Portugal, but he's going to need to find a bit more pace than that. It's going to get harder and harder to overtake as he gets nearer the front, of course. And Switzerland and Germany both in great shape here, waiting for Brazil to make the pit stop.
7 laps to go, 8 minutes and 15 seconds remain of this 40-lap or 1-hour race. On board with Team Netherlands, Jos Verstappen running in 4th place. Not able to do anything with Timo Scheider in the Team Germany entry, and Timo Scheider, who's got experience of racing on street tracks in many formula, doing a stunning job for the team.
Certainly is. There is Jos Verstappen looking to claim back something after the disappointments of the sprint race when he went for the lead on the closing lap, only to spin down at this corner, turn number 9. Currently running in 5th, that's 4th rather. That will become 3rd if Brazil makes his stop.
Yes. Just coming out of turn 7. So just a little bit of movement from Team Brazil's car, but nothing that was of any consequence. Coming now through turn 12, this long corner that circumnavigates round the casino and then into turn 13. And Jos Verstappen, I don't know whether he also may have a problem. I suspect that the brakes are going to get absolutely hammered around this 2.04 mile circuit. And if you've been very aggressive on the brakes, and we've seen Jos Verstappen use them very hard, it may be something as simple as you've used your brakes too hard, they just are crying enough.
Yeah, that could be what it's all about. New Zealand, meanwhile, were a fraction closer last time around to the back of the Portuguese car, but not really close enough yet to challenge. 6 laps remain then as we look down over Brazil. How late are they going to leave it? Surely they're going to have to come in soon, but are they going to leave it to the very last possible opportunity before they make their pits?
Well, the pace of this race is absolutely red hot, because the last lap for Team Brazil was 1 minute 17.5, and that's on lap 34. The best lap was 1:19.423, so he's lapping within just over 2.5 tenths of his best lap on a set of tyres that have done 3/4 race distance.
France tucked in behind Italy. They're running in 8th and 9th positions. Here we are with Alexander Premat running 9th behind Max Busnelli.
There's the readout on the steering wheel, 6th gear. Now he's breaking down the gears, down to 3rd gear for that final turn at the end of the back straight, turn 9.
Busnelli doing all right though so far for Italy, going to score some points if he stays where he is on his debut event in A1 Grand Prix. And remember, he started at the back as well of this grid because he was involved in a first corner accident in the sprint race. So he's survived so far, kept his nose clean in this one. The damaged nose was replaced in the sprint race.
Well, on lap time, on overall pace, France ought to have a handle on Italy. But again, the problem is that if you can't get your momentum, if you're stuck behind a car of a pace that's maybe up to a second slower than your ultimate lap speed, the difficulties are just monumental.
New Zealand were unable to close the gap anymore on Portugal on that last lap, so that's even Stevens between Portugal and New Zealand. 5th and 6th places currently for those two cars. We're still riding with Prix here as he tries to gain a little bit more pace. Ahead of the two cars is Steven Simpson for South Africa, currently lying in 7th place, hoping to pick up yet more points.
And you might think that Brazil, they know that they're going. Oh, a call is an accident.
Germany!
Germany from 3rd place are out.
Well, that could have been 2nd as well. Timo Scheider hangs his head in his hands. That would have been Germany's best finish in A1 Grand Prix. He's hit the wall and he's out of the race. And what a crushing disappointment. What a way to finish for Timo Scheider.
And this is the reason why Brazil have opted to stay out until the last opportunity, because you don't know what's going to happen. Let's watch again and see where it all goes wrong. Where is he? There. Oh. The damage has already been done. No, I don't know what he was doing. There was something on the car.
Something already wrong.
Something was already wrong on the right. Sorry, the left front, I think, was already broken, because when he made contact with the wall on the right-hand side, the left front wheel fell out. So he's made contact somewhere. And we look into the Team Germany garage. David Sears, who runs on the team on behalf of Team Germany. Well, you know, he was thought podium position. What a great day for Team Germany all over.
Well, this moves them all up one. Brazil still to make their pit stop. It will mean that Switzerland will be effectively leading from the Netherlands, Portugal, and New Zealand effectively 4th. They're in 5th at the moment.
China has retired. They pulled off just on the exit of 5, leading up into turn 6. So that car, it's not in a dangerous position, but there will be a wave flag there for the remainder of the race. Not a place you'd expect to see anybody overtake, but it's just something there the drivers have got to take on board, as well as what they would just do by simply driving around.
So, cars coming off towards the end of this race. I wonder how many more won't make it to the checkered flag. There are 4 laps remaining here. Brazil still to make their pit stop.
Could Brazil, by fate or whatever, end up finishing in 10th place? There we see Team Brazil preparing for the pit stop. They're now waiting for Nelson Piquet Jr. to bring Team Brazil's car. He's coming into the pit lane now. He must get in a clean pit stop. Stop precisely where his garage is and let the team go to work. There is pressure, but in fact it's all about whether he can get 10th place or 11th place, and I think 10th place is on.
Well, it deserves a point at least for the effort he's put in here today, leading the best part of the race, but of course waiting to make his pit stop until much later than the others. Good on the fronts, they've got the rears off and the new ones on. This is looking pretty good. Can they get the rear done up? It's got a slight slowness on this right rear.
They can't get the thread to do this now. So problem. Oh, he stalls! No. He stalled and he goes to leave the pit. Piquet Jr. having had a reasonable pit. Now you can see the frustration, the anger. He wants them to pump start the car. They want to put the air starter into the back of the car. He's going. Poor Nelson Piquet Jr. Almost you can see the tears rolling down his cheeks and into the balaclava.
Oh, he can't believe it, can he? What is happening here? He can't get the thing restarted at the moment. It drops him right back. I'm not sure it makes a huge difference in the end. No, that's right. But it means that France now have effectively gained another place. They're up to 7th, but still trying to get past Italy as Brazil finally gets going. And Prix had to take to the curb there because I think they've gone in pretty much side by side.
So the battle's still going. I mean, there's a wonderful battle now for 6th place. Piquet Jr. back out. That was an awful luck. I mean, they had a pit stop which went very well, other than the right rear was problematic. But then whether the car stalled because it was a fault of the car or a fault of the driver, there we look again into turn 9. France taking a long way down the inside, and that one really was very optimistic indeed, and Prix had to pull over to the right and even go over the curb on the inside because Busnelli for Team Italy was not going to concede corner, which would have been for position. And again Prix overbrakes himself. Again, I just think the drivers have been using their cars so aggressively in the braking zones. Are they just really just flogging the thing?
2 laps to go, and South Africa are cheering Stephen Simpson on because he's now into 5th position. He's kept out of trouble and he's now in 5th. Switzerland lead this race. Netherlands are running 2nd, looking for the Dutch team's best results of the year, and Portugal are looking for a 3rd place finish.
And I think it's a pretty safe looking 5th place for South Africa, assuming Stephen Simpson doesn't make an error, because the battle going on behind between Italy for 6th and France for 7th is absorbing those 2 teams more than worrying about where Team South Africa is in 5th place.
So Stephen Simpson just needs to keep off the walls. He's getting the support, the cheers around this packed Durban street circuit. Some 50,000 people here are willing him on. They'd love to see him on the podium. I don't think that's going to happen, but he is looking as though he's going to finish in 5th place. When the leader comes around this next time, there's 1 lap to go. The leader's just gone onto his final lap. There is Switzerland race leader. Look how close the Netherlands car is. Surely Verstappen's not going to do the same thing again.
Why not? The only way you're going to win is to take the chance. He's too far behind. The prospect of doing so is very remote. It would take an error.
Mistake from Switzerland. Switzerland was slow through turn 2.
Well, that is the mistake. That is the pressure. Now, Jos Verstappen is on the gearbox of Team Switzerland not to pass round 4, not to pass around 5. Put yourself in position going through 6 and 7. Then get it right as you go through 8. Look, you couldn't get closer than that. He's pushing, virtually pushing Switzerland all the way through turn 6 and 7.
The last lap, just as in the sprint race. Switzerland all over the place. Here comes the Netherlands, challenging for the lead on the final lap of the feature race in Durban. Is he going to make the same mistake as he made last time? Down the outside, the Netherlands takes the lead. The Netherlands is in front. They haven't won a race in A1GP. They haven't got on the podium. But Jos Verstappen, from the back of the grid, is in the lead.
Well, I say street races, you can never predict. You can start last, you can win the race. Jos Verstappen, clearly a problem for Team Switzerland, but nevertheless, Jos Verstappen has driven like a street fighter that we know he is. He's taken the lead in the last lap. Just don't do it wrong. 1 corner to go. Jos Verstappen wins for the Netherlands for the 1st time.
The Netherlands takes victory in Durban. What a race result. Jos Verstappen wins for the Netherlands, and what ecstatic scenes we're going to see down there. Amazing. Poor Switzerland.
It's not just on the circuit. Here we've got the Dutch commentary team beside us. They've gone absolutely ballistic.
The Netherlands win, Switzerland takes 2nd, Portugal is 3rd, New Zealand finishes 4th, ahead of South Africa in 5th place. Italy takes 6th, then France, Austria, Brazil and Canada. That's how the top 10 finish here.
Brazil got back out. They did the fastest lap of the race, a scintillating lap. 1 minute 18.17. It's the fastest lap we've seen all weekend from Team Brazil. Nelson Piquet Jr. and, well, Alexander Premat. Is that jubilation for finishing or frustration for not winning?
I think he just wants to put on a show for these fans who've been so supportive this weekend. But what a story. Jos Verstappen, who went for the lead on the first race and spun out, and he had to start this 2nd race at the very back, has fought his way through. The team did a great job in the pits. They called a good strategy, and when Switzerland had a problem on the last lap, he was there.
Well, I think the only popular result that would have been satisfying the crowd here today were for South Africa to win. The next one was for Jos Verstappen and the Netherlands to win, and I think it's a popular victory up and down the pit lane because Jos Verstappen is a legend, and here he is now winning for the 1st time A1GP in Durban. Feature race, starts last, finishes 1st. What a great day for the Dutch.
Amazing. And Jos Verstappen is just that kind of driver. Look, he's going to do the donuts down, although he's going to have to get it a bit more under control than that. That was the corner, of course, where he spun earlier, and he's getting quite a reception down there from the grandstand. They saw him go for the move in the first race that went wrong, but you do have to feel for this man. Amongst all the excitement, poor old Neil Yarni was set for his 2nd win in A1 Grand Prix, and something went wrong for him on that last lap.
Yes, it did. You could see he made a mistake going through turn 2, and then he compounded it by turn 8, and that gave the momentum. Whatever the problem was with Switzerland, they couldn't defend that position. Ordinarily, on the last lap of a race, you would expect the driver to do everything and even more to defend. He couldn't even do that. Jos Verstappen had the momentum, he had the car to do it. Fantastic.
And well done to Stephen Simpson of South Africa as well. He was on the back foot after qualifying. He's had immense pressure on him all weekend, but he came through a race of attrition and a race of making mistakes. He didn't make any mistakes. He has finished in 5th place. And you know what? Again, 5th place is the best result for a country on home soil. We've had it several times this year, and it's happened again here in South Africa.
Nelson Piquet Jr., a man who will feel great disappointment, because there was a victory there for anybody. Anybody in this field today could have won this feature race. Nelson Piquet Jr. illustrated the pace that he had. He has recorded the fastest lap all weekend on his first lap out in that set of tyres that took so long to get fitted to the car, then hit the stall. So, I mean, it's going to be an evening of both celebration and jubilation and frustration, but there, Jos Verstappen, I suppose you might say the snaps are on him tonight.
Brilliant stuff from the Dutch driver, the man, the 33-year-old who raced in 91 Grand Prix, and he's shown in A1 Grand Prix he's lost none of his attacking style, his attacking spirit, and he has taken victory. Got a new race engineer this weekend, Bernard Freenix, who's taken over from Graham Taylor, who's gone off to do other things. I'm sure Graham's probably watching at home and thinking, well, I wish I'd been there, but what a result for the Dutch.
And former race driver and manager Hugo Ruttengatter congratulating Jos Verstappen. I mean, Jos Verstappen has been frustrated, he's been disappointed. Max Felty from Team Switzerland, the team that he just defeated, welcomes him, congratulates him. No doubt continues with sadness that their man Neil Yanni couldn't get on the winner's podium.
The final result in Durban, Jos Verstappen takes victory, and the Netherlands become the fourth country to take victory in A1. Switzerland second, Portugal third, ahead of New Zealand. The fighting drive of the race perhaps was indeed from New Zealand, fourth place for Matt Halliday. Then in fifth, the locals, South Africa taking fifth place, Italy in sixth, then France in seventh, recovering from a drive-through penalty and a poor pit stop, eighth for Austria, ninth for Brazil, and 10th place for Canada, with the fastest lap point going to Brazil. Further down, Germany so unlucky, they should have been second. It all went wrong for them in the closing laps. Other drivers who'll be bitterly disappointed, Alex Young, who could have been on for a great result but made a minor mistake at turn 9. Ralph Furman had problems throughout the afternoon, and Great Britain out of luck on this occasion. Brazil just about hold on to third place in the championship standings, courtesy of 2 points for finishing in 9th place and a point for the fastest lap as well. So they've just opened up that advantage slightly again over Great Britain. Well, where do we begin with the highlights, John? There were so many of them.
There really is one highlight, really. This is the last lap coming down the fastest part of the racetrack. Neil Yanni in Switzerland defend on the inside, which he's fully entitled to do, but, well, this man, Jos Verstappen, had the pace. Neil Yanni, whatever his difficulties were, didn't allow him to defend that lead, and Jos Verstappen swept through in turn 9 and took victory, and seatbelts undone, absolutely delirious with joy, as is this man, Stephen Simpson, Republic of South Africa, 5th place, and a delight for the home crowd here in Durban.
Well, that's great. Just look at the reaction he's getting from the fans on the other side of the pit straight here, and it makes such a difference. He kept them in their seats, he kept them watching throughout the race. They got a result well inside the points. 5th place for Stephen Simpson. I'll tell you what, the other one to mention as well, there's so many actually to mention, but Italy got home 6th with their new driver Max Busnelli, who stayed out of trouble and stayed ahead of Alexander Premack.
I mean, I think Busnelli has done a very, very impressive job. He came here, he'd never taken part in this. He'd never driven a car until he got here. He was confronted by wet weather running all day Friday, and he was impressive. Second quickest in that first official practice session. And yet again comes and finishes 6th. Great job for Italy.
Let's go down to the man who's been receiving all the support here today in Durban, Stephen Simpson.
Stephen, that was a heroic race. How do you feel?
Brilliant. It was great to get such a good result. At one stage I thought I'd lost my nose cone, but the car was good. I just pushed hard, tried to keep it off the wall, and thanks to all the fans for their support. It's been a great weekend.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, he can relax now. He's been pretty wound up, I should think, this weekend with all of the attention that's been on him and the support that he's had. It's put the pressure on, but he's delivered with a result that has matched the best result of any country on home soil, a 5th place finish here. New Zealand, of course, finished ahead of them, and Matt Halliday's drive was, for me, one of the drives of the race, and a good birthday present for Colin Giltrap back in New Zealand. I think he'll have been delighted with that. They made that call on the pit stop strategy. They didn't make the early stop. They went for the later stop, and he came through to finish 4th.
Yes, I mean, a great drive by Matt Halliday on a type of racetrack which he, not to say he specialises in street tracks, he just is a very comfortable driver on a street track, and he knows the limits and he uses them.
Here we go, the podium celebration, and Jos Verstappen, for the first time in his A1 career, not only on the podium, he's on the top step. Well, that's the way to do it. If you're going to get on the podium for the first time, why not go for that number 1 position? Neil Yanni, of course, for Team Switzerland, disappointed ultimately having to settle for second. Whatever happened to him on the last lap, well, he's had a win, and Verstappen hasn't. Now he's got his opportunity. And a great result for Portugal too. Let's not forget Alvaro Parente in all the excitement. And the Dutch national anthem plays out for the first time in A1 Grand Prix. And as you said, John, it's going to be a very popular victory up and down pit lane. Jos Verstappen has a lot of friends in motorsport.
Yes, he does, and I think it's very significant because I can't remember the last time Jos Verstappen won a competitive or a senior single-seater motor race. And, you know, that's a long drought to... I'm sure he will drown it well and truly this evening, along with the entire Dutch team that are here, plus all the fans that have made their way, the Dutch Barmy Army, the fans that support Jos Verstappen all around the world. Alvaro Parente also delighted to be on the podium with that third place.
Yes, absolutely. He had a couple of third place finishes in his Formula One career, did Jos Verstappen, but I'm afraid he never made that top step, but he has done it here in A1 Grand Prix. Good friend of Michael Schumacher's, of course, as well, when they were both racing in Formula One together. And, well, he's got his opportunity here with the Dutch team. It's been fantastic to see. There's Neil Jarni, who receives his trophy for finishing in second place. And although he must feel disappointed, it hasn't been a bad weekend for the Swiss, with 2 podium finishes out of the 2 races. The only team, in fact, to appear on the podium in both races. Alvaro Parente ready to receive his trophy as well. And the medals to be handed out. Tokyo Segwali, the seat holder for South Africa, presents the gold medal to Jos Verstappen. What a way to achieve it. You never would have thought, after his exploits in that sprint race, when he went for the lunge on Alexander Preymat, all to go wrong, that he was able to claim the win on the final lap of the feature race.
Well, there's a few people in the grandstand that like to have had a few runs on Jos Verstappen. It would have been a very long odds coming from last in the grid to winning the race, but that's the nature of street racing. Jos Verstappen doing it for the more mature racing driver, probably the oldest of the drivers currently in A1GP. Well, age is no barrier to success and to spirit, and well, Jos Verstappen wanting to throw that bottle of champagne to the members of his team, and they will no doubt down that, and well, there it is. It's a bit like a sort of a magpie snatching somebody else's food.
They're going to be on the champagne all night tonight, I reckon, after that historic result. The Dutch taking the win here in Durban on the first street track race to be used in A1 Grand Prix racing, with Switzerland and Portugal finishing in second and third places. Well, I think you have to say it's been a success, this Durban street track, not just in terms of the amount of people here, but in terms of the entertainment it's produced.
It's been wonderful, and street races, that's what they provide. One thing I would like to say is that Jan Lammers, who is the seat holder for the Netherlands team, he was racing this weekend over in America. He'll be delighted with this result.
Let's take a look back at the highlights now, and there were plenty of them. At the start, Alexander Preymat of France didn't make his good getaway, and Switzerland took the initial advantage. The Netherlands did make up a few places on that start, but unfortunately things went wrong for the United States and Australia when they made this collision at turn 1 a little later on.
But it was the opportunity most teams took on the second lap to stop and make that tyre change early. There you see Jos Verstappen in the Netherlands car using that a racing driver's sense. He read what was going on there. Another problem that occurred to Team GP. The gun, in fact, was underneath the car. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, and they couldn't quite believe it. They were so unlucky there for Robbie Kerr for Team Great Britain. But then for Team Switzerland, things were looking pretty good. Despite sitting in behind Brazil for a long time, they looked to have this race. Great Britain spun out in the end. Canada ran over their own nose cone, their own front wing, and then India and Indonesia had it coming together.
Yes, that was down at turn 9, and I think it was just inexperience on the part of Aman Ibrahim. He just didn't know what was going on around him. He'll learn, he'll grow. Alex Young discovered that you can pass into turn 2, but Matt Halliday did a great job into turn 2 as well a little bit later.
Brazil were going very quickly and trying to open up an advantage that would allow them to make a late pit stop. Ireland were out of luck again. They finished 4th in the sprint race, but it went wrong for them in the feature. But then Alex Young made this mistake, which put him out of the running for a decent result. You never know, he could have ended up with a podium finish himself. New Zealand were able to get through then and gain some more places. There were more incidents towards the end of the race as Pakistan had a clout from Lebanon, and something, we don't quite know what, broke on Germany's car, which saw him bump into the wall in the end.
And there's the frustration for Nelson Piquet Jr., but this is the highlight of the race, the pass that saw the lead transfer from Switzerland to the Netherlands. Yeah, Neil Jani unable to do anything, and Jos Verstappen takes his first victory in the feature race in A1GP.
So the Dutch have done it. They've come here to Durban and they've taken the win, and the Barmy Army that follows Jos Verstappen around are going to be enjoying themselves this evening. There's no doubt about it. Verstappen, the hero of the hour, from hero to zero in the first race. Well, he's reclaimed hero status in race 2.
Well, I think it'll be a case in Durban tonight. Put up the shutters and lock up your daughters, because there's going to be a party tonight, and it'll be all around this man and this team.
But South Africa can be pleased with their man too. 5th place finish from Portugal, celebrating with a good podium finish for Alvaro Parent, getting them back on track and challenging with New Zealand for some decent points in the series. So that was the celebration on the podium. Portugal there, you see they have got some support here along with the others, but it's time now to join the top 3 finishers in the press conference.
Jos Verstappen and Team Netherlands, what is it with you in last lap? You'll be glad you didn't learn any lessons after the sprint race.
No, I'm very happy with it as well. I mean, in the sprint race, 2nd position for us was already very good. But then I tried to overtake, and it didn't happen how I wanted it. But then in the last race, it was really good. So it was on the same spot where it happened before. Obviously, I'm very delighted with it, and I think especially for the Dutch fans and for the team, they worked so hard. So I think they really deserved it as well.
You've never had a podium before, so starting at the top's not so bad. Tell us your feelings.
No, that's correct. I mean, it was quite tough to find our way, but then for this race, we changed quite a lot. I mean, we came here with a new race engineer, we have a new mechanic as well, so it's quite a lot of difference to come here. But then from the first moment here, I jumped in the car, it felt very good. I mean, I was very confident. We were competing with the top 5 all the time, so I was confident. But then, in the last race, then starting from 16th position, you never know, and especially on a street circuit, overtaking is very, very difficult. But then at the end, we still make it. So,
Jos, thanks for the moment. Neil Jani, Team Switzerland, did you have a problem in the last lap?
Well, it looks like we always have problems before we win a race. I think from the last 6 races we should have at least won 5, and once more we lost it here. The brakes this time. Just didn't have any brakes anymore in the last 2 laps, and as soon as I touched the brakes, nothing happened. So I had to brake very early and not full gas on the straight, so I could at least break down the car. But, well, I mean, what shall I say? For sure disappointing in the end, because last race Dubai leading, lost by a bad strategy, this time by a brake failure. Well, at least we finished second and got some points, but I'm not too happy for sure.
What was going through your mind when you saw Jos going past you?
I mean, I knew I can't hold him by not doing any stupid things, so I thought just, well, let him go and go for second, or try at least to go for second, and at least that worked.
Neil, thanks very much. Team Portugal, Alvaro Parent. It just shows you that battling on pays off, as does keeping out of trouble, and that wasn't very easy to do.
No, that's true. On the first race, I just kept out of trouble, and the things went my way. People crashed, so I picked up some places, finished 8th. And the second race, I had a really good start. I passed 2 guys in the start. So, and after the safety car, we were in a good spot, and I made a mistake after the back straight when Jos passed me. But then, Germany went off, and we managed to get 3rd place.
You've been battling on for a number of rounds now. How much does this boost this podium a boost for you and your team?
Oh, it's very good because in free practice we were always over here in South Africa, we were always in the top 3. Just qualifying didn't go my way at all. We had a really bad qualifying. But now the race, finished 3rd. I'm delighted, and the team is just going to keep pushing to try and win some races.
Jos, just finally, you've been very close on a number of occasions. Is this a turning point for the fortunes of Team Netherlands?
Let's hope so. I mean, but I must say this was definitely the race where everything worked out quite well. The car was definitely better than ever before. We are looking quite strong in the races all the time, but then we lost it quite sometimes in qualifying. But then here we managed to do a good qualifying as well. I mean, as long as you're in the top 4 or 5, I think you have a chance to come on the podium. And let's hope this is the turning point.
Gentlemen, thanks very much.
So a suitably happy